What's up, nerds? Welcome back to Nerd Locker for this week's comic book reviews. I'm starting off with the Superior Spider-Man number 26. This is sort of the first big Goblin War fight. I mean, I guess it's officially started. This issue kicks it off. And it's awesome. They keep saying, or the Green Goblin in previous issues and in this issue keeps saying he's Norman Osborn, but refuses to take off his mask, which obviously makes you think that it's not Norman Osborn. We also see Spider-Man's fallout with the Avengers. Everyone's kind of catching on that Peter has been acting different, and I mean that's been my big concern with this book to begin with, is that when Amazing Spider-Man ended, Otto Octavius really had this heart-to-heart where he's like, I'm going to be a better Spider-Man, and I'm going to carry on in Peter's name, and he's just kind of been a giant dick, with the exception of getting his doctorate and now making Peter a doctor. I feel like that's the only positive thing he's really done. He's just burned bridges, ruined relationships. So I'm interested to see how this ends, knowing that Peter Parker is coming back with Amazing Spider-Man. But I'm excited to see this Goblin War, excited to see the fallout of this and how this carries over. I feel like there's definitely going to be some plus sides to Peter coming back. And we actually get to see Peter in this issue talking and thinking about how he's going to make his return. So all in all, this is a really great issue. I think this is the highest I've ever given this book, but I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, I got a chance to read Thor, God of Thunder number 18, which of course includes Thor, but also includes Scabgag, the aptly named dragon with teenage angst and parent problems. I really, really love this issue. Of course, it was a big step away from the Malekith story that just ended in the last issue. With this one, we go back to I would say his 20s, relatively speaking, as far as his age. He was just drunk all the time, and of course hanging out with dragons that was on the cusp of eating people, but really couldn't come up with whether they wanted to do that or not. This issue was excellent. I just loved it. It was funny, hilarious the entire way. Jason Aaron is killing it on this book, so you're going to want to check it out. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls because it definitely deserves it. Check it out.
All right, guys, coming here with my Nerd Locker comic book reviews of the week. I got to do the Adventure Time Holiday Special 2014, number 1. Good stuff. Actually, it had an Art Balthasar cover, and you guys should buy that cover because he's an awesome dude and a good friend of Nerd Lockers, so check it out. Anyways, the issue itself was really fun and awesome and cool. Of course, it's Adventure Time and it's Christmassy stories, and yeah, it's over. It's been almost a month since Christmas, but who cares, man? It's still fun and wintry most places, and you know, it's just Adventure Time being Adventure Time, and it's amazing. Check it out. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls because it's an awesome little collection of great Adventure Time stories. As it should be, as it always is.
Hey there, nerds. Jim here with my comic reviews this week. And first up, I have Ghostbusters number 12. I've been a big fan of this book. It's a lot of fun. It really takes me back to the movies and the cartoon. In fact, the comic is drawn very similar to the cartoon, which I think is very cool. We're wrapping up I have a feeling it's going to keep going, but we're wrapping up sort of the ghost tapping into children's energies and taking over children's abilities. Last issue we had Sinterklaas, not to be confused with Santa Claus, as we keep being reminded. And this time we have the Boogeyman. And it's cool. I like how they go that way, and I like the Boogeyman, and they sort of tease more along the lines of, hey, we had Gozer 30 years ago, and now we see a pattern going. Big things are happening. I like how they tease that. The thing I didn't like about this is it was sort of told in flashback, in that giving a report to the lead detective, and this is what happened, and well, tell me one more time. I've told you a million times. Well, tell me again. It's like, well, that's not terribly interesting storytelling. So that was the only bummer of the issue. I did like at the end, we're still doing the prelude to mass hysteria leading up to the 30th year anniversary of the first Ghostbusters movie. Big things are going to happen. They show us the team in Chicago, which again, I like. It's almost like Batman Inc. We have Ghostbusters in different cities. Duh, that is awesome. So they're in Chicago, and the Chicago Museum is going to hold an exhibit of Gozer. Nothing could go wrong, right? Clearly something's going to go wrong. I really like where this is going. I'm excited for the future of Ghostbusters. This issue I'm only going to give 3.5 Nerd Skulls, but I think a lot of great things are coming with this Mass Hysteria book, or series, so I can't wait to read that.
All right, I got to read Earth 2 Annual number 2. This is going to be a very spoiler-filled review, so if you would not like to have this spoiled, skip ahead, or don't watch this, or leave the room to anyone who's in the room right now. But yeah, we find out the origin of Earth 2 Batman, being that Bruce Wayne was killed in the first issue, along with what we thought was Clark Kent, but now he's the big bad guy, and Wonder Woman. And it is Thomas Wayne, which was actually spoiled in DC Direct a while back. They said it was Thomas Wayne, then they retracted it. But yeah, that's who it is. And you learn that after the shooting, he was, I guess they didn't die right there on the street. They were rushed in. Martha died. He did not, and he made Leslie Tompkins promise not to tell that he had survived. He disappeared for a while, and he began using the Hourman drug that he got from a former colleague, Rex Mason. And it gives him superpowers for an hour, which is why he's been so goddamn invincible lately when we've seen him run around in the Batsuit. He actually reconnects with Bruce, but Bruce says, no, you suck. You don't understand. Like, I became Batman because you died, and now you're telling me you're not dead. This is effed up. I don't want anything to do with you. And when Bruce died, he's decided to take up the mantle and be Batman, and kind of doesn't give a crap about anything. I guess he's addicted to this drug now, and I don't know, it's an interesting idea, I guess. I mean, after Flashpoint, maybe people really want to see Thomas Wayne as Batman, so that's what you're going to get in Earth 2 from here on out. Interested to see how this story goes, if they're ever going to do a crossover with New Earth or Earth 1, I guess that's what they're calling it now. I can't keep track of everything sometimes with all these renamings and all this, but wasn't a bad issue. I'm intrigued. I mean, I've liked this series so far, so I'm going to keep reading it. I'm going to give this 4 to 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, Invincible 108 comes out this week, and if you have checked out our website, you might know that they've been hinting towards some stuff that's coming Invincible's way in 111, a brave new era, something that's going to happen. But in the last tease, they announced that someone close to Invincible was going to betray him, and I had my considerations of who it might be. But I was completely wrong. They definitely let us know in this issue, so you're going to want to check it out. Invincible 108, it is excellent because the big character I just never saw coming. But also on the side of that, it was 2 storylines that were kind of clashing that's been going on in Invincible lately. One, of course, where did Angstrom Levi go? There was another Invincible from another universe that basically took him and started torturing him. We haven't seen him in a long time. And then also the whole storyline with Robot and Monster Girl. They were in another dimension where they were, for relatively speaking, thousands of years ruling over the Flaxans. Now this storyline comes to a head with two of them just clashing in the craziest of ways. You're going to want to read this issue. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls, but everyone should check it out. It's a no-brainer. Read it.
All right, guys, so I got to read Guardians of the Galaxy #1. It's the Trial of Jean Grey. Now, I was really unsure why they were doing this, why it was called this. I mean, it makes sense, and it totally makes sense afterwards. It's pretty much the Shi'ar being dicks. Plain and simple. Gladiator's an asshole. And I can't blame him for it, because, he's with the Gladiator, he's essentially Superman, and he can do whatever the hell he wants, because he's in Marvel, and he does that. But I really like where it's going. I want to see where it goes, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Brian Michael Bendis right now to really, really inject the Guardians of the Galaxy with some awesomeness, like just action-packed craziness, which isn't hard. It's a cool team to do that with very easily, and I think that's why he wanted to definitely jump on this book forever ago. And now he's still doing it. But including the X-Men in it, especially the younger X-Men, it's a little weird. And it's in the first issue, you don't really get that. It's a lot of building of the story, trying to figure out what's going on, yada yada, exposition, all this cool stuff. Tony Stark, funny joke, whatever. Normal comic book, a normal Brian Michael Bendis comic book, wordy but still good to read, still awesome and still exciting. Gamora, oh my god, I have like the biggest crush on a green skinned girl right now, and I don't know how I'm gonna satisfy that. So, anyways, the issue though, or the book, I'm excited to see where it goes. This issue was a little weird, but it was still fun and cool, and like all these crazy things happen. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls, and I'm gonna hope that it keeps going that way. But truthfully, I feel like it might slide a little bit. But we'll see how it happens. Let me know what you guys think.
So I also got to read Aquaman number 27. I'm not going to say anything negative about the new creative team, but I certainly miss Jeff Johns. The way he was writing and reintroduced us to Aquaman was fantastic. I loved it. He's missing, and that's sad. The current storyline picks up right where 26 left off with the big creature from old Atlantis just attacking Iceland. And it's fine. It's okay. Obviously, we see Aquaman really struggling against this thing, but it's kind of boring. I mean, it takes up the whole issue, and it's like, all right, get over with it. We already had part of this in the last issue. How long do we need? Come on. Now, we do see a little bit inside the mind of the creature because Arthur has to go in and try and stop him mentally, and that's unsuccessful because it's really old school, but he sees a little bit of ancient Atlantis. We also see part of the sneak back to the scientists, specifically Dr. Shin is back, and they have nefarious plans involved with this monster, so that's interesting, and we get a little hint of that Arthur knows what's going on. But again, it's not awesome like Jeff Johns' storylines were awesome. This is sort of just getting us to the next thing. So I hope it picked back up. I hope they don't do like Monster of the Week thing because it just gets old. So I'm only going to give this middle of the line 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Damian, Son of Batman, number 4. This is 4. I put 3, but it's 4. It's the final issue to this miniseries, and it's very violent, which is cool. But there's sort of some things in it that are mentioned that make me think like they have more of a plan with this character, which doesn't make much sense. I kind of thought this would be a one-and-done miniseries. Oh, guys, Damian died, but here's how he would have become Batman. But they kind of left this as we might see more miniseries out of this, which is just, I don't know. I want Damian back as Robin. I don't want to hear like what-if stories of him. But, I mean, if this is a one-and-done, it's a good read. I suggest picking it up when it comes into trade. If they do more, it might kind of change my opinion down the line. But I'm going to give this final issue 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you thought.
Hey guys, I didn't get a chance to review Walking Dead 120 last week, but I wanted to get in front of the camera to talk about it this week. It was an excellent issue. If you haven't been following along, Negan has been torturing basically 3 different communities in different ways, and the war is coming. And in the last few issues, we've been seeing how Rick attacked their group. But in this issue, we're seeing how they're retaliating in a really big way, and I've never hated Negan more, but he's still an excellent villain. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Check it out, guys.
All right, guys, so I got to read Uncanny Avengers number 16. Man, pretty much this book should have been what Infinity was, what the last event was before that. I don't even remember what it was. But all that stuff, like the last 3 years of comic book events don't even touch how awesome this book is, because it's a book that is all about the crossover, all about 2 properties, more than that. I mean, all these different characters and players coming in and doing their own unique thing. And Rick Remender's done such an awesome job of crafting this cool little world, this cool little pocket of the Marvel Universe that it's the Marvel Universe. Everything that's going on is actually affecting everything else in its own weird way, obviously, because there's a million books out. But it's doing it in like a really emotional, and like you're just getting hit on all sides. Thor is the most badass he's ever been, even compared to God of Thunder, which is an awesome book, and he's a really cool dude in it, and it's really like old school Thor. This is like that times 10. Like he's just awesome and cool. In this issue especially, he really just throws down. You see his power, which, I mean, we see it all the time, especially since Thor came out. I mean, like ever since you've seen his movies, they kind of amped him up a little bit. In this, it's not just to make him cool, it's because of what's going on. The story has driven him to this point, and you're totally behind it, and you totally want to see it, and it happens, and you're like, oh, and it of course, it ends with a page that just makes you wish you could have that next book. So, unfortunately, it's not out yet, and gotta wait like a whole damn month, but oh my God, it's gonna be the best month of waiting ever, because this was a 5 out of 5 Nerd Skull book, and it's the best Marvel book, dude. Go read it now. No.
So next up, I got to read Furious number 1. A little confused. I think there are 3 personalities or 3 characters rolled into one. Now, they didn't come out and say it, but that's my interpretation. There's definitely 2. And we have sort of normal identity walking around. We have Furious, who can't stand to be called Furious, which I think is funny, and then that's what the media calls her. She has powers, obviously, and she wants to use them for good, but she can't seem to do anything right. And I feel bad for her because with Thought Bubbles, we get to see what she wants to do, and she wants to make things right, but her actions mess up bad, and almost to the point where a child almost dies. And that's obviously how low this could go. And it's an interesting, it did have a really good foreshadowing point that came to bite her in the ass, and it was like, ouch, man, that sucks. That really sucks. You feel that. I was sort of disappointed in the art. Usually I'm not the guy that notices art. I pay more attention to the story. I thought the art was a little rushed and a little messy. And there was, I swear, there was one panel that was out of place. Like, I'm like, this makes more sense if this is up here on the page before than down here where they put it. So I swear they printed it wrong, but maybe not. I'm curious how these three personas are going to play out. And the third one is a celebrity figure, like a rock star singer, like Britney Spears. I'm not sure how this is all going to play out with that. I'm curious to find it out, but I really hope the writing gets a little tighter, and I really hope the art gets better for me to keep reading it. So I'm only going to give this 2.5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read East of West, number 9, and I can't say enough good things about this book. This issue is awesome. We can see Death, talk to Oracle, and you find out what he's sacrificing and what he's sacrificing it for. And the thing about this book is there's just so much going on. This issue shows a lot of history, which I actually really like in this book, because the world that you're viewing is not anything you've seen. So it's cool that you continue to learn what has happened and why things are the way they are. And it's outstanding. It's a great book. I can't wait to see what else happens with this. There's a lot of revelation in this book, or in this issue, that show things to come, and sort of treachery happening behind other people. And I'm loving this book. I can't say enough good things about East of West. You need to be reading this. Issue 9, I'm giving 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.